Hey, deserving listeners, Love is Blind, Season 4, Netflix show in Seattle. Let's watch.
Nah. No, like, I really like him. I know. He's, like, so great, right? You're not sure. Yeah, you're not sure.
I'm not with it.
I don't understand what she's saying, so I'm going to have to turn on the subtitles. What did she say?
I know. He's, like, so great, right? You're not sure. Yeah, you're not sure.
I'm not with it.
I'm 100% not with it. Based on what? Based on what? Yikes.
You're not with it at all.
So seeing their reaction, it makes me think this is real. Because that's a rational, normal reaction there from the friend of just like, wait, what? Now, maybe there's some manufacturing going on from Shelby or something, but the fact that Micah and the friend are just like, what? When I see this kind of scene on other shows like 90 Day Fiancé, sometimes we don't see this reaction. It's just like, wait, what? How come? And if you don't see that reaction, then it could be shenanigans, right, of production messing with things. So, because I was wondering, like, is anyone like this? Like, why would she do this? So then I think shenanigans, but then I see this and I think maybe not shenanigans. Unshenanigans.
You're not sure. Yeah, you're not sure.
I'm not with it.
You're not with it at all.
Not at all.
Oh. Wait, you're not with it?
No.
You don't like it?
He's extremely nice. He's the best guy ever right now.
If they had spent the day together, it would still be ridiculous. But at least you could say, well, she has data to go off of. According to the edit anyway, they asked him 2 questions. And he, in his long-winded, tentative, semi-shy, semi-introverted way, I don't know how to say it. He's not very effusive, you know. He answered the questions. He got halfway through the second answer, maybe even just 2 sentences in, and you decided that you're angry at him and that you deserve to be bitchy towards him, in your words, and you're 100% not into him? I mean, if I were Micah, I'd just be like, what? I fell in love with someone and spent hours upon hours with him. We had a honeymoon. We've lived together for the past number of weeks, and I'm more and more sure that this is a good choice. And you met him for 15 seconds, and you have decided that not only you don't like him, but that you know what's best for me. The self-centeredness, the grandiosity, the superiorness, the just entitlement, the lack of empathy, the lack of concern about other people. Why would you be friends with someone like this is the question. And then it just really points to the Micah Irina thing, because Micah's friends. And then if you're Paul, you know, it'd be rational for him to say like, well, my experience of Micah is one way, but seeing all of her friends, including Irina, it's like, what does this say about Micah?
The best guy ever right now. You're a hater.
I'm not a hater.
I'm the most protective person in Micah because that's my best friend in the entire world.
Okay, be protective. And I will never not be skeptical. Okay, be skeptical. But jumping to conclusions based on 2.5 sentences, that's not being protective or skeptical. That's just being irrational. That's just being controlling and invasive and narcissistic and entitled. Yeah, be protective, be skeptical. You know, we've heard this from other people, usually not, well, I guess sometimes friends, but parents, for example, on 90 Day Fiancé, they will say, I'm protective and I'm skeptical, and okay, great, but what?
And I will never not be skeptical because of how I feel about her. And I've been there through so much. And I just think that I need more.
Okay, you need more. How about you let him answer the second question? So we've been together through so much, and maybe that's true. It's hard to know based on her behavior. You know, having been through so much could have literally just been, you can't believe it. There there was a string of 7 guys that I did not have a good first impression with, and oh my God, it was so hard to deal with. Like, I'm not mocking her, but I mean, who knows what she means by that? It could also mean that her and that she and Micah have actually been through what anyone would call to be difficult situations in dating and relationships, maybe abusive, who knows? And she has reasons to be very, very protective and very, very concerned and worried that Micah will make bad choices based on past behavior. Who knows? Doesn't justify jumping to a conclusion after 1.5 sentences, but it would at least give us an explanation as to why Shelby would be so distorted. I mean, it's just like this massive level of distortion of she sees something that no one could possibly see based on what we saw. And now maybe Paul is a horrible partner for Micah. Maybe the broken clock is right twice a day kind of thing. I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just saying there's no possible human way she would know that she's right. Now, maybe she has back channel information from Micah herself. Maybe she's talked, I don't know. I don't know.
I need more.
And of course, for Shelby, she's like, and I'm entitled to interrogate him. I need more. I'm protective. And thus, I can do whatever I want. That's usually the implication when it comes from someone like this.
You're not into it? Are you being serious?
I just feel like that this wasn't meant for you. Like, you're meant to have the most spectacular everything.
What is she even talking about? What is she referring to? Spectacular, like, what is she referring to? I don't know, but the only thing I can think that she's referring to is the platonic ideal of a man. Like, not only is he as good looking as Channing Tatum, but he also is rich and he loves puppies and he's sensitive and he's an animal in bed and everyone wants to love him and he's fashionable, but you're more fashionable because, you know, we can't have, I don't I have no idea. I don't want to insert that, but most spectacular everything. You know, I guess what I'm concluding is like, so what she saw was mainly just his physical appearance and the way he responded to questions. Whatever she means, what contrast is she saying that she deserves? And she doesn't know anything about their relationship. She doesn't know anything about their love or their connection. Yeah, I don't know why I keep trying to logic this way out of it. I think she's also fairly intoxicated, so maybe in the morning she wakes up and she says, oh my God, what did I do?
It wasn't meant for you. Like, you're meant to have the most spectacular everything. You're Micah. I think you deserve that.
And now she's crying. Just think about what happened. They're like, hey, we met you. You're engaged. Oh my God, that's amazing. Are you serious? And he's just like, well, yeah. I mean, he's answered it in this kind of convoluted way, but yeah, he said, yeah, I'm serious. And what was it like when you saw her? And then, you know, he answers that question kind of. He's long-winded, but it would be a long-winded explanation. It would be a very weird experience. And then from that, it's like, I'm mad at you, and now I'm crying. Like, just exhausting.
You're meant to have the best wedding of your life. You're meant to have all of this, and this isn't it. But this isn't it.
I mean, to Micah's credit, she seems just astonished. She's just like, or at least I'm interpreting it that way. Or is Micah saying, oh my God, this is TV gold? Or is Micah saying, whoa, maybe she's right? I don't know. I'd like to think that Micah is thinking, how do you possibly draw that conclusion based on 1.5 answers to a question? And they shouldn't be playing this music. This music implies that there's actual drama happening. There's a literal possibility that this young woman is actually suffering from some kind of psychopathology. I obviously am not diagnosing. There's no signs of anything. But that happens, percentage of people have issues, and some young people have emerging issues that are subclinical and not noticeable before they become clinical and they show themselves in their full symptomology. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, at this point, we can't rule that out because of the break from reality that she is having right now. Again, I think she's fairly intoxicated, so maybe. So if I was to conceptualize in the most charitable way, she really loves Micah. She has a lot of trauma. Maybe they have trauma together, and she really depends on Micah. Micah really depends on her. She has a track record of experiencing Micah making perhaps legitimate bad choices in dating or something. And she's really drunk, and she's really threatened by this and really sad. And she's just having like an emotional kind of freak out. And she's seeing everything through that lens. And when she finally gets some time to think about it, she'll say to herself, I think I was having an emotional freak out. I'm sorry. I don't know what was happening. So I can see that being true. I'd like to think that's what's happening. Obviously there's thousands of other hypotheses, but I could see that being true. Maybe not that she wakes up the next morning is completely mature and completely on board with the notion that she made a mistake, but maybe she recognizes that she made a mistake a little bit. Now, there's a possibility that they actually don't work out. Maybe Paul even says no at the altar, and Shelby was right the whole time, giving Shelby even more fuel to her notion that she somehow has a psychic ability to know if people are good for each other or not. And that's another thought, actually, now I think about it. I mean, some people literally believe they have a supernatural ability to tell such things. I mean, there are people you can pay who believe themselves that they have a supernatural ability to tell if, what's going to happen in your future and that sort of thing. And so those notions are considered logical and, I guess, like scientific. They're pseudoscientific, but she doesn't indicate anything along those lines. But there are those notions floating around. So she could be a product of that subculture. I don't know. I'm just grasping at straws. What do you think? So whenever I really go out there in terms of my reaction like I am right now, and I'm feeling like I'm really concluding something really strong about someone, I immediately think, am I biased? And what if my point of view does not align with your point of view, dear viewer? Now, that happens, and it's okay, but it doesn't feel good to have that happen. And I worry of alienation of you because it could, that doesn't feel good. So let me know. So if you were here, I would just ask you after everything I said, and I would also ask you what you think. So Stacy actually watched these episodes before I did, and I'm watching it. It just came out on Friday, and I'm watching on this Monday. By the time this airs, it'll be weeks in the future, I think. But Stacy watched it on Friday because she loves this show, and she, over the weekend, I was like, don't spoil it, but what happened? Because I didn't have time to watch this. So don't spoil it for me, but could you just give me a hint? Because I just want to know what happened. And she did mention something about this. She said something about, well, wait till they go to a bar, or Micah's friend or something. And so at least I'm pre-validated because I'm now remembering the vibe that Stacy was giving. But immediately after watch this, I'm going to go and talk to Stacy, who's right on the other side of that door, basically. And I'm going to be like, oh my God, Shelby, what? And then my wife will be like, yeah, oh my God, what? And then I'll be like, okay, so at least one other person. I'm not completely alone. But really, and this applies to all my reaction videos, if you care to, it could just be one sentence, just be like, Kirk, I'm with you, And you can certainly share your thoughts. I always love to hear that as well. Some of you have like really great hypotheses and ideas and remind me of things that I forgot. And I guess sometimes I consider the thumbs up basically in that direction. You don't have to agree with everything I say, of course, that would be weird, but you understand it, or I don't know. What do you think? Also, I want to remind everyone, this is not a justification to bully her or Micah or Irina or anyone on the show. You could say maybe there are situations where some of these folks on the shows that we watch, might deserve some kind of internet backlash or cancellation. This is not one of them. Shelby being a bad friend in my book to Micah is between Micah and Shelby. And Paul has his own life to figure out. He got away from the situation. He was mature and cut his losses, which is good for him. So this is not on the level of anything that I would consider justification for going after someone, going into their DMs and saying they're a piece of shit, or doxing them, or literally death threats or stuff, making fun of the way they look, making fun of the way they dress, making fun of their hair, making fun of their vocal fry or something like that. All that is completely steeped in sexism and misogyny. And even if you're a woman, you've been indoctrinated into that, and it's not okay. So I know you're not going to do it because I keep saying that. And also, if you see anyone doing it, I hope you stand up on the side of justice. It's not okay. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.